Welcome to Money and Margaritas. I'm Ryan Conrad. Today we're going to talk about 4 ways to get out of the paycheck to paycheck life. This is the most helpful tips that I've learned myself, and I want to share them with you today. So the first one that we're going to talk about today is your housing expenses. By far, the most important thing you can do is find a way to reduce your housing expenses so that you can pay off debt faster and create wealth. The first way to do that is to get a roommate. Maybe you already have a house, you love your house, you love the location of it, you're not interested in selling it. That's okay. This might be a great option for you. Maybe just adding a roommate to your household, charging a bit of rent will offset your housing expenses and allow you to create some extra freedom in your budget to pay off debt. I think it's an awesome way to go. The next way to go about it is to go with smaller square footage. We grew up in a time where everybody believes that we need a lot of space. We have 3,000 square foot homes. We've got just huge homes all over. Maybe you don't need as much space. So either maybe you could sell your home and get a smaller one, or you could rent a smaller unit. This is the option that my wife and I have chose. Our house currently is 420 square feet, and we're totally happy. We love it, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the larger houses in our area. So great way to go. Smaller is better. Simple life. Maybe you want to get into the minimalism style of living. It's perfect. The next option that I really love, this one we've thought about doing ourselves, is called a house hack. Usually this is where someone buys a duplex, maybe a triplex, maybe a 4-unit property, and you live in one side and rent out the others. And it's a great way to offset the cost of owning a house. You can pick it up and charge the rent for the other side, and in some areas the rent on the other side might pay for the entire mortgage and all of the expenses. In other situations or cities, maybe it'll only pay for a portion of it, but it's a really great way to reduce your housing expense and make some movement on your debt. Another option is RV living. I've seen more and more people in the debt-free community decide to sell their house, live in an RV. It's a very extreme option. It's definitely not for everybody, but that's another really great option to look into. There's a lot of accounts that you can find on Instagram for that, and it's another great option to save money. The other option that I know of is moving out of the city limits. A lot of cities, they charge really high rents when you're in the city, and maybe a short commute outside of the city would be worth the extra commute, but the cost savings could be very beneficial to you. So I think that's a great way to go. And again, if you can save, expense in your housing budget, you can really make some great movement. So I think that's awesome. All right, so the second option that we're going to look at, or the second area of your budget that we want to look at, is your food expense. By far, people spend a lot more money in the food area of their budget than they realize. So you need to really pay attention to this area. Meal prepping, super important. When you go out to the grocery store, you want to plan your meals. You need to really think about what do you really need? Not what do you want, what do you need? And so when you're picking out your groceries, just think of, hey, what do I need for breakfast? That's what you buy. What do I need for lunches? You only need a few items for your lunch. And then pick out dinners that are simple. But again, most importantly, you need to plan your food. Don't go into go into the grocery store hungry. That's not gonna save you money. So, make a plan, stick to it. It's really helpful because your budget will be very similar each week. So it'll be really easy for you as well. The next tip is eating out less. It's you go out once or twice, and the next thing you know, you've spent a lot of money eating out. So you probably should cut that down, and that'll help your expenses a lot. But if you do feel like treating yourself, that's okay. Maybe you want to treat yourself for some sort of accomplishment. Maybe you paid off a credit card, something like that. Treat yourself. But maybe you can go to a restaurant where you could split a meal and drink waters. That's been something that Alma and I have done for many years, and it's just a way of being able to treat yourself, but also not go over in the food spending category. So definitely food. That's my second most important area of saving money, and I think that'll help out a lot. All right, so the third item that we're going to look at today, the third tip for you, is subscriptions. Everybody's got some subscriptions. Need a margarita sip here real quick. Much better. Subscriptions. You know, they say this. You know, the small holes will sink a ship. This is the small holes area. A lot of times you're going to see me focus on the big areas like the housing expense, and I do think that that's one of the more important ones. But these small ones, they'll get you. And I think that too many people take for granted all of the little stuff. So you've got your Netflix, you've got cable, internet, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Pandora. These are all little things that add up. And the cable is actually kind of a larger one. But, you know, it's not so bad without cable. There are ways, you know, you can get an antenna and, you know, get some good channels with that usually. And then, you know, give up the cable, the internet. We found that more and more cell phone plans are offering this hotspot. And so you can actually turn your cell phone into a little portable internet device. And some of the telephone providers are offering unlimited data for these. And so you can watch, you know, your shows or get on the internet and watch certain things or hijack your grandmother's Netflix account and still be able to you know get on the internet without actually paying for it every month. Because for a long time we were paying for internet and cable just because we wanted the internet, and they always said it was cheaper to bundle and have both of them. So we've recently given that up and we love it. I wish we would have known about the hotspot on our cell phone a long time ago, because we save so much money. I think it was roughly $89 per month that we save now that we don't have to pay for internet and cable. And that can make a huge dent in your budget and can really help you move forward. So I think that's awesome. All right, and the fourth one, you know, sometimes your housing is just as frugal as possible. You've just done everything you can there. You really cut out all the wasteful spending on the food. You know, you're really doing good in that. You're buying only the bare necessities for food, and the subscriptions, you've got them all gone, and you're still not able to make the progress that you'd like to make. This is where income comes into play. There is a point where you don't have just a spending problem and you have an income problem. And so you might need to consider, you know, a second job. You might need to consider some sort of side hustle. You might need to consider focusing harder on your main job. There was a point in time where, you know, I was focusing on a second job when I could have been focusing a little bit more on my primary job, and that might be you. Overtime, taking people's shifts. Maybe, you know, you need to be known as the person that's willing to take that shift for somebody when they're sick. You know, you could go to garage sales and maybe you're the guy that can really, guy or girl, that can point out, you know, the item that's undervalued and you can get it for cheap and you can resell it on the internet for more. I see some people resell clothing and, you know, buy clothing very inexpensively and sell it for more. But you got to be creative. It's not easy, but use the skills that you have for yourself. Maybe learn some new skills, and you might need to just get your income up. So those are my 4 tips, and I hope they helped you out. Give a like and subscribe below, and I look forward to making more videos.